It's day 2 here at Super Bowl Radio Row, and Joe Burrow is better than Tom Brady. Was at his age, context, whatever. We got that and much more for you on today's Radio Row recap of Locked On NFL.
You are Locked On NFL, your daily NFL podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Radio Row Recap. This is, I'm going to call it a more informal show. That Ross and I are doing here on the Locked On NFL podcast. Recapping all of our days. It's day 2 here at Super Bowl week, Radio Row. We are having clearly a good time.
Clearly.
And we did a bunch of interviews. We're going to talk about them here and shows you snippets from all of it. But for the full things, you got to go to the respective shows. Ross, what did you just say about Joe Burrow?
Okay, so there was a comment that was made by Tom Brady that Joe Burrow right now is playing better than what Tom Brady played at his age. You know what we call this?
Dog.
You know what we call this?
You clickbaited me.
Yeah, I did. I gotcha. But it's level 1 clickbait because I'm going to actually deliver on all this. So
It's too inside baseball.
Yeah, it's really good.
No.
So here we go. So here's the deal. You had Tom Brady talking about Joe Burrow saying exactly that. So you know what we're talking about here. Hashtag on pace. We're talking about on pace.
Oh, okay.
At this point. That's what we're talking about. How do you feel about on pace?
No, on pace is dumb because Tom Brady in his first 2 years did some level of things, and then the next 20 were important. Like the first 2 did not make the next 20 an inevitability.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to be a hater of Joe Burrow though. Joe Burrow's cool as hell, but this is an insane take. And
but it's Tom Brady's take.
Like by the time Tom Brady's insane. By the time you water it down to what Tom Brady's actually saying, which is okay, sure, like yeah, when I was that young, I didn't have the confidence he had, and of course I worked out, so therefore, go Joe Burrow.
Right.
Like great, and I think the more substantive thing is about Joe Burrow and his confidence. We talked a lot about Joe Burrow's confidence here.
It's
we
been
talked to Ryan Leaf about that
thing.
yesterday.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. It was a cool conversation though.
Yeah.
And this is just a bridge too far, perhaps. Maybe get one ring first.
Yeah, sure.
Which could happen this weekend.
It could happen this weekend. Here is more on Tom Brady's comment about Joe Burrow from the only Mike Patraglia, who has covered Tom Brady, covered all 20 years of him in New England. So here's what he had to say.
Joe Burrow has been able to do what Tom Brady did in his second year, his first full year as starting quarterback for the Bengals, and that is take a team to the Super Bowl. And obviously everybody remembers 2001, the Tuck rule in the snow, Charles Woodson, then the great game in Pittsburgh leading to the Super Bowl. Was he going to play? Was he not going to play? And he leads that drive in incredibly dramatic fashion over the greatest show on turf. And everybody crowns him as the new wonder boy of the NFL. Well, lo and behold, Joe Burrow has been able to really, I think, what the difference to me is Joe Burrow has been able to shoulder so much more of the load, James, than Tom Brady had to. Because you had a veteran defense in New England in 2001. Guys like Teddy Bruschi, Willie McGinnis, Ted Johnson, guys that had been there a while, and even Brian Cox was brought in to kind of really, stabilize that defense. So Tom didn't have to do it all. Mm-hmm. This is a lot different. Certainly you have veterans on that Bengal defense, but you have Joe Burrow really carrying the load. I will tell you that Joe Burrow has been able to do in his second NFL season something the Tom Brady-led Patriot dynasty never did. Win 2 road playoff games on the way to a Super Bowl. Tom Brady never won in New England 3 playoff games to get to a Super Bowl, and he never won 2 road playoff games to get to a Super Bowl. How about that?
He's always getting a bye, right?
That is true. Because the seasons were 14-2 and 13-3 all the time, and even one 16-0 season that Patriot fans would rather I not bring up.
So again, it's all about the confidence. We're going to learn more about confidence tomorrow. We're actually going to talk to a sports psychologist about what the it factor is.
I'm hyped for that.
I'm so excited. Luke's going to kill that interview. So make sure you're sticking around for that later on this week. But we just heard Mike talking a bit about all of this and stuff, and so it kind of boils down to exactly what you're talking about, right? Confidence. So is confidence sort of the paramount quality you're looking for in a quarterback, or are there other things that obviously have to come about as well.
It's got to be the right kind of confidence,
sure.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's what Ryan Leaf talked about. It's
right.
got to be the right kind. But I think there are certain positions where I think confidence is paramount. I don't think it's more important to anything than it is to cornerback.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cornerbacks have to be unhinged people.
Yep.
This is my take, is cornerbacks cannot have a grip on reality.
Right.
Like, if your cornerback should literally think that they can fist fight a mountain.
Yeah.
And be like, you bet against me? What? Because the reason is because as a cornerback, you're not going to win every play. It's just life.
Yeah.
And you have to play with a certain level of aggression. You can tell a cornerback that doesn't believe in themselves will start playing passively, and they'll start giving more yards than the coverage calls for of cushion. So if they're coverages will tell you this is a 7 yard. You play 7 yards off as you start, and then they'll kind of creep back, and you can feel it, and it's subconscious.
Yeah.
And that you can't do, especially in coverages where you have to jam or press, or if you're trying to jump a route or something like that. You need to be Trevon Diggs, who's like, you got 150 yards on me today, and I got 2 picks because I did not stop jumping routes.
Right.
That's the mentality you have to have. That's why he's an all-pro.
Yeah, you look at Jalen Ramsey, Marcus Peters,
all
one
these
of the
guys,
newer guys that I love covering, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Like, these guys extremely
that
confident.
guy definitely doesn't have a grip on reality. That is a dude that is absolutely divorced from the world around him, and that's what makes him good at the sport.
So
and
good.
Quarterbacks, too. I mean, look, memory of a goldfish, the whole thing, right?
Yep.
And I think with Burrow, he has such a comfortable, he's so comfortable.
Yeah.
Watching him play, that's why he's the burr and the ice cold and everything like that.
Right.
Because watching him play, he has a very intuitive and easy understanding of not only the playbook and the classic, young quarterback stuff, but what the defense is doing.
Yeah.
And what I need to do to counter that. I am taken back to week 1 when they played my Vikings. He called a play, and Mike Zimmer actually came out after and said, we were practiced for that play. 4th and 1 in overtime, and he called bootleg leak. Like a Y leak, with outside zone action, and it's like this incredibly long developing play for 4th and 1. Ballsiest thing ever, but he came out in the front and he just understood that was going to work.
Yeah.
And even though the Vikings had practiced against that, they were still caught in a front that wasn't going to work against it, and it was a hard counter, and they got a big giant play, and they ended up kicking a game-winning field goal. That's the kind of thing. He's been doing that all year.
Yeah.
And in a number of game-winning field goal drives in the playoffs here. And that you can't do that if you don't feel it 1,000,000% confidence.
Yeah, you have to have that confidence, and especially in a situation like what they're gonna do this weekend, right? This is the biggest stage. This is where you see those opportunities, or those players that squander opportunities because they're not ready for the brightest lights. They're not ready for the big stage. I don't think it's gonna be a problem for Joe.
No, and I mean, he already did it in the National College Football Championship.
A lot. Heavily.
Yeah.
It was outstanding.
Are you familiar with that?
I'm very familiar. Go Tigers. 2019 greatest college football team of all time.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
It'll be really fun to watch him do that.
Me too. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, and you know what else has been a ton of fun? Radio Row. Free week. It's been awesome so far. So we want to share some of our top memories with you and the things that we've done so far here over the course of the first 2 days. So first, Luke and I are going to talk it out. Then we're going to share some of our favorite clips with you that we've gathered so far throughout these top couple of days. We've had some great writers. Sam Munson from PFF came through. We had Robert Mays from The Athletic. Some great folks, great insights. We're going to share all of that with you as we continue on. But first, we're going to go over some of the stuff that we really love. Luke and I just having a good time here over in Los Angeles, California. Super Bowl Radio Row with the Super Bowl right around the corner. Also want to remind you about our friends over at betonline.net. Doesn't get any better, doesn't get any easier than BetOnline, because they are going to get you going with everything that you need in terms of props, odds, lines, and more than you've ever seen before, as it all continues all the way through the Super Bowl heading into this weekend. I can't believe it's already almost the Super Bowl. It's insane. So you want to check it out, head over to betonline.net, because it remains the best of all places for your sports scores, podcasts, news, and basically anything else that you're looking for this season. And it's not just football, by the way. You can also get in at up-to-the-minute info on pro as well as college hoops. You can get in on the NHL, boxing, UFC, MMA, whatever it is that you're looking for, updates on all of the current games right there at betonline.net. So don't wait to take advantage of the new and amazing offers that are there every single day throughout the 2020 season. Head over there to betonline.net right now. BetOnline, where the game starts. And of course, we also have our GetUpside app. I keep talking about it. Gas is ridiculous here. It's
nigh criminal.
And so to help out with all that, we have the GetUpside app. We use it a lot. We hope that you're using it as well, because at select gas stations, they're going to make sure that you're not paying full price at the pump anymore by giving you cash back on the gas that you do get at those select gas stations. Super simple. You go to the select station, you fill up, take a picture of the receipt, you deposit it in, and then they end up just putting money in your account, giving you cash back on the gallon. And if you're downloading the app for the first time, don't forget to use the promo code TOUCHDOWN, because then you'll get 25 cents back per gallon or more on your first fill up. Doesn't get any better than that. You can get it back to your bank account, to your PayPal, Amazon gift cards, bunch of other brands as well. Some folks getting $200, $300 back, depending upon how long they're letting it all build up. And I know I like to save that and then pull it out when it's, all that good stuff.
Time to get something special.
Yeah, absolutely. Treat myself.
Yes.
And I get to treat myself because of the GetUpside app, and I hope that you will too. Go ahead and download it for free at your App Store, Google Play, wherever it is that you get your apps. That went well. And you can use the promo code TOUCHDOWN on your first use, so that you can get 25 cents back per gallon or more on that first fill. Once again, it's the GetUpside app, promo code TOUCHDOWN.
Hey, thank you so much for making the Locked On NFL podcast your first listens of the day, both times, especially when this uploads at a time where it's super normal to be waking up.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, this has been a really fun time, man. This is, it's crazy that we are able to get to be here.
Isn't it insane that we're here? Period.
Yeah. It's surreal, and how much there's so we had Pat McAfee going in the background.
Nuts. It was awesome.
During Locked On NFL.
Yeah.
When we did Locked On NFL, the Tuesday episode of Locked On NFL,
right.
The very end, suddenly you hear, you just hear this insane roar, what sounds like a crowd cheering for somebody. It's literally Pat McAfee and 2 other dudes making all of that noise.
It's outstanding. It's awesome.
And there is always this, it's the convention buzz. There's this electricity in the air that you can always, it's a little, we're at the end of the day here, so it's sort of dissipated, but it's always, it's in the background of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say that, this is really dope. The fact that we're here, the fact that we're doing a show in person, which we, couldn't have done within the past couple of years because of all the things that we've all been subject to.
Sure.
But then also simply that, we tend to work remotely from everybody, right? We're not usually connected with everybody. We all live in different parts of the country, everything like that. Some people don't even live in this country that cover, shows for us, particularly over in our NHL side and stuff like that. And it's been awesome to be able to be here. And I have to say, it's because of you. Because of all of you are listening or watching and stuff like that, the support that you have shown to us by tuning into the show, making us your first listen, checking out the local shows, checking out the national shows, checking out the rival shows where you're looking for the opposing viewpoints and everything like that. That happened because you supported us and helped to get us here. So this is awesome, man, and I love that we get to share it.
The way that I was able to do my show, Locked On Vikings, today, I did one segment on a running backs coach that they hired, and then Cody's just here. They hired a guy from the Broncos, and Cody Rourke, who does Locked On Broncos, is just here. And I just brought him in. I was like, Cody, let's chit-chat.
Yeah.
And and he told me about the guy, and then because we're at this awesome opportunity, I got to ask Solomon Wilcots about the run game that the Vikings are, and we talked a little bit about that in play action.
Yeah.
And I just get, and you can just build this really cool idea and massive information with people who are way smarter about me than this or that.
Yeah.
And that's so cool.
Man.
It's such an awesome opportunity, and they're all just milling around here.
Yeah. You just walk up, say, hey, can we talk to you for a little while? You got a couple of minutes and everything. So let's talk a little bit about the process, right? What it's like to be here.
It's guerrilla.
Yeah, it's wild. It's awesome. And so we walk into the front doors of the convention center, and then as you walk in, you've got stairs, escalators, all that good stuff. You can go back to the media room, which is how you get here. This is all Media Central. We have little workspaces and workrooms up top and everything. But then on the opposite side of the convention center, we also have credential pickup, as well as the Super Bowl experience and all these other events that are happening in between.
And there's a fan experience that you can just do. That I want to check out. That looks really cool.
Me too.
If we can get some time. But yeah, it's truly NFL con.
Yeah, and there's a huge NFL shop right here Like I'm pointing to it. You can't see it if you're watching,
right
but
here,
it's like
where
right
you
over,
can find
right over there, and everything. Where you can just walk in and grab like all of these incredible things. A light just went out. Like this is so great. We're just having the greatest time. I'm gonna just check.
Leave it.
Yeah, it still looks
it's
great.
Fine.
It still looks good.
You're good.
Worried about it.
You don't care,
So,
lovely YouTube viewer.
If you do, let us know in the comments. Say, you know what? I was good until the light went out.
Leave a mean comment. It definitely doesn't help us. It certainly doesn't.
Your
meanest comment absolutely doesn't actually help the show. So do it and leave a mean one.
Yeah. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably sitting here like, wow, these guys are really unhinged right now.
Yeah,
and
we're punch drunk because we've been running around like crazy all day.
Yeah, we've been here forever. But this is also part of the experience that we get to bring to you. We have like the usual Locked on NFL experience, your Monday through Friday. Like James and Tony are going to do an episode tomorrow or on Wednesday to make sure that you get it and everything. But each night, we're doing this kind of bonus show to just kind of talk about what the experience is and just kind of pull back the curtain.
I want you to feel like y'all are here with us.
Yeah.
And that, because it's so cool to be here, and I want to, like, share that. And that's what this is for. And it's just, like, electric to just be able, like, most of what I've done during, like, downtime here is just, like, scan and just look around and be like, who is that?
Yeah.
Is that somebody just walking around?
Right.
Like,
Like earlier when we had Marshall Faulk walk this way.
Yeah.
And then we had James Jones come up this way, and then like 2 minutes later, Maurice Jones-Drew came up the same way, everything, and
followed
then
by Ryan Shazier.
Yes, exactly. And so it's the coolest thing, man.
Yeah, and just being able to shoot your shot with all those guys and see what sticks. It's super cool.
Yeah.
And see what we can get moving here.
Yeah, and we've got some great stuff coming up as well. Tomorrow we're going to be talking to Marlon Humphrey, Baltimore Ravens corners. My opinion, one of the best corners in the NFL. Orlando Scandrick is going to come through. We're going to get Mike Tannenbaum as well. He's going to come in and talk some GM with us. Like, we got a ton of stuff coming up. Trey Wingo coming up later on in the week as well. So we got a bunch that's coming up all throughout the rest of the week here on Locked on NFL. You'll see those on the Locked on NFL YouTube channel as the full pieces. You can get snippets here. You can catch small pieces in all the local shows that they're relevant to, all of that as well. So all over the Locked on Podcast Network. We were even doing stuff for 3-man hockey leagues, 3-person hockey leagues.
I talked to a dude about knee surgery today.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome. So we've just got so much, and we want to share some of it with you. So coming up next, we're going to jump into kind of a supercut. We're just going to give you a bunch of small snippets of a bunch of things that we've done so far over the course of the past couple of days. That way you get a little taste of everything. If there's anything you want to see more of, you know exactly where to find it here on the Locked on NFL YouTube page is where you're going to want to go for those full interviews and everything. But we're so grateful that you're here with us, and we're going to continue on with that as we wrap up today's episode of Locked on NFL. But first, the one thing that I never want to wrap up is my relationship with Rock Auto.
True.
It is a very stable,
a family company, as it were.
Yes, absolutely. It is a stable relationship, and it is. I feel like I can call anytime.
Best efforts.
Yes, despite my best efforts of ruining my truck. I still am able to rely on Rock Auto. They never judge me. They never tell me I'm doing anything wrong. And they don't charge me more because I'm a do-it-yourselfer as opposed to a professional, which really gets on my nerves.
Yeah, well, the professional, car people, they do take advantage of you if you don't know what you're doing. Because they'll take a part that costs $200 and charge you $600.
Yeah, it's like that time I went to the doctor and my toe hurt, and they told me that I had, liver problems. That's a different story for another time. But when it comes down to rockauto.com, I don't have to worry about that. I go for the one thing that I want, and I leave for the one thing that I went there for.
We're going to talk about that more later, all right?
We'll have a private conversation.
Yeah, after they all go home. After our guests go home.
You go to, an auto parts store, and you say, I have this problem. And they're like, actually, you have these 16 problems. This list of things that they just made up that's wrong with your car.
They always do that, and then they'll upcharge you for the part. But, the hack is you buy the part on Rock Auto, and then take it to the mechanic, and then they just charge you for the labor.
Just the labor. Yeah. That's all you got to do. So check them out, rockauto.com. Everything that you need for your car, truck, or vehicle, doesn't matter your make, your model, whatever, you just drop that all in there, and then you're able to find out all of the parts, pieces, and accessories that they have. Get whatever you need over at rockauto.com. Don't forget to let them know the Locked On sent you. We're already locked on in the How Did You Hear About Us section so that they know that you got there from us because they have the amazing selection, reliable low prices, and all the parts your car will ever need over at rockauto.com.
I wonder, by Friday, how unhinged this show is going to be.
It's going to be incredible, especially if it stays this cold, too.
Yeah.
We're going to be
mush.
We're going to be kicked out of here.
And we're going to take that to you, the listener, It's Locked On NFL, and we did a whole bunch of cool interviews, and here's some snippets from all of them. For the whole things, you got to go to the respective shows that they would air on. But we just want to show you some of the cool stuff we did.
I'm ramping up to go play another season.
Okay.
Like, I'm ready to play, and I'm excited to come back this season. Dealt with an injury last year, but I'm getting back in. But yeah, definitely after football, which hopefully won't be for a little bit. I'm gonna slim it down. I'm gonna drop down to like 230, 240. It's always interesting to see the reverse too. You always see those little guys, the running backs, the receivers, a little bit chubbier cheeks. They're eating the same way, but they're not putting the same amount of calories and output. And you see them blowing up a little bit.
Are you the kind of guy that has to like pound the calories to maintain?
Unbelievable amount, like force extra food all the time in order to maintain my size. And so I remember the other day I didn't eat that much, and I lost a ton of weight just from not force feeding myself like I usually do.
So you through the charity work and I think the content creation have this impetus to help people. Who helped you along your journey?
I definitely think that's inherent with all of us. I think there's some aspect of the human experience where we want to give back and you want to help others. And whenever you do, I mean, it means the world to us. And a lot of times it makes you feel better than the person you helped. But definitely along the way, my grandfather was a huge influence on me. He's had service before self, officer in the Air Force, full bird colonel that always went out of his way to help others. He had a lot of other people along the way. I remember there was one Bronco player that came down to my hometown in Grand Junction and like had me shoot hoops and do stuff with him, and that made my day for the next month. So now that I knew I had the opportunity to make a similar impact, he wasn't a big name guy, but a Bronco player talked to me, spoke to me, he was genuine with me, made a huge impact on me. So my entire career, I've been trying to do 63 events a year in order to kind of make that investment and hopefully make a similar impact to some other kid out there.
Say you're Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
And you want to run Tom Brady spread. You think he's going to do that with Kirk Cousins and Dalvin Cook in the same backfield?
No.
There you go.
But does he keep Kirk Cousins?
So the reason, but here's the no, he's guaranteed the $35 million he's getting.
Yeah,
so that tells you he's keeping Kirk Cousins
you could trade
for 2022. So here's the deal: Kirk Cousins is not. You've got to, as a coordinator, you've got to play with the cards you have, right? It's like us playing cards. I could want to do a lot of things, but man, my hand doesn't allow me to do all of that. So until you go and get that quarterback that allows you to play that more spread style, and I mean, I agree with you that he may want to play that, but when you have the ingredients to win with play action, or win with a Kirk Cousins, the best way you're going to leverage Kirk Cousins' talent is you're going to have to run the ball with Dalvin Cook, right? Alexander Madison, and then you're going to come off smoking with play action. You're going to be able to generate big-time plays within the offense. Kirk Cousins, a lot of people give him a hard time. If you go back and take a look over the last 3 years, if you really pointed to why the team hasn't been in the postseason, I think you could find about 4 or 5 other reasons other than pointing to the lack of production by Kirk Cousins. Because he's had the production. The defense had been in decline. The defense had stopped to get turnovers. The defense wasn't measuring up. And all the while, you transition from Stephon Diggs to Justin Jefferson that don't even miss a beat. You can't do that without a quarterback doing something right. And I mean, that's not, you and I aren't debating this, which I just really wanted to layer the conversation with some facts that lend itself to suggesting what they need to continue to do and how they want to build on some of the things they have been doing. And that is playing very well on offense. Can they get better? Yes. Yeah. But they've been playing very well on offense, losing the games in by
weird
other
ways.
means.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, by other means.
Quarterbacks are easy, but it is the best one, and it's the fact that they were both like pretty formative to their respective teams and to where they are right now. Sean McVay and Zach Taylor were on the same coaching staff, 2017, 2018 with the Rams. Jared Goff offense, right, under center, play action, like what we know this offense to be. And then Taylor went to Cincinnati. They got Joe Burrow. They pretty quickly realized what they could do with Joe Burrow, what he allowed them to do on offense, and they changed the structure of that McVay offense. They went more spread, they went more shotgun because Burrow can handle it. In Los Angeles, McVay moves on from Jared Goff, trades for Matt Stafford, becomes more spread, becomes more shotgun, more drop back pass because they knew that Stafford could handle it. It looks different for both of them. Burrow's more quick game, Stafford's more down the field, but both quarterbacks changed the way the offense worked, and it was kind of interesting to see that co-evolution, right? 2 separate places, 2 new quarterbacks in those places, and then how each offensive designer has adjusted around that. It's pretty cool. It's pretty beautiful, too.
Coaches who've been around for a while, they know that. Other guys are still figuring it out.
Well, the Vikings hired a young guy, so we're going to see if he can figure that kind of thing out. Okay, so it is getting dangerously close to the actual game. We have just a few more days of podcasting left until the actual football game is played.
Yeah.
And so it's time to start talking about that. We did that a little bit earlier today on Locked On NFL, so if you missed the other episode, we're doing 2 a day on this show.
Right.
We're bringing you so much content.
So
much content. We talked about how the teams got here, like just the crazy winding path. You know, the Bengals got here in such a different way than the Rams got here, and we kind of talked about that. And we brought in Travis from Locked On Rams and Jake from Locked On Bengals. And there's so much more cool stuff coming down here from Super Week here on the Locked On NFL Podcast Network, Locked On Podcast Network, Locked On NFL. We are feeding you, my dear cherubs, and I cannot wait to bring you more.
It is going to be such a blast the rest of the week. We were worried about if we were going to be unhinged later on in the week. We are unhinged 2 minutes later.
How bad is that going to get?
2 minutes later. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. Y'all, we appreciate you so much for being here, for making us your first listen of the day here on Locked On NFL. For your second listen, come back to Locked On NFL, and also make sure you check out over there. Your boy Q, he's at a booth over there.
Camera.
Your boy Q.
He's standing right next to you.
Right, as well as Lee Sterling, who are getting you caught up on everything that you need to know with the bets, everything, props, everything that you need to know around the Super Bowl. So check out Locked On Bets wherever you get your podcast. We appreciate you as always for being here for another episode of Locked On Unhinged. Locked On NFL here at Super Bowl Radio Row. We appreciate you very much, and we will see you next time here on Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.